let's talk some basics. I think is really going to be the most important thing today, and get you guys that are new here started. And some of you, Jen Lara, have been on here for a long time, just watching and reading and learning, and she's just starting it new. So she's experienced, but not necessarily with taking disulfiram, as well as others. I really appreciate all your guys' input and help in our forum. It helps me not have to stay completely plugged in all the time answering questions, although I do try. But I do have 4 kiddos at home, and we're all treating, but doing well. Yesterday I had an appointment at my neurologist. I started back again, and so we're doing some more testing and stuff. I have a little bit of, okay, wow, interesting. Neuropathy, not neuropathy, sorry, muscle weakness, things like that. So let me back up. I did 30 vials of blood today. That's 30. That's the most I've ever done. So I'm feeling good. I don't feel limey anymore. But I wanted to just mention that. I don't say I'm in remission. My kids are all doing great. All 4 of them got, oh, hi, Norway. How exciting. So we've all been treating for 7 to 8 years and doing really well. But as you know, some of this stuff, this is my 40th year having it, some of this stuff can cause some damage. So I've already done 1 stem cell treatment at my buddy's place in Germany, Villa Medigruen. I want to get some disclaimers out before we really get into some of the nitty gritty. There's not going to be any medical advice here today. It's just going to be me sharing my experience with you guys, and I'm certainly not going to recommend anybody start disulfiram or make changes with their protocol or medication or supplements, and I'm also not recommending clinics or physicians. I do have a lot of resources. Yeah, oh my God is right, Jen. But I feel good just having a little bit of my head will bob every once in a while, a little muscle weakness. But I'm doing homeopathy and low-dose immunotherapy. We've all done really well on that for 5 years. And like you guys, I have compliance issues. I forget, I fall asleep on the couch. I'm so tired by the time I get to bed, and then I get there and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot my 2nd dose of homeopathy. It's okay. So some of this may be my own doing with compliance issues. As you guys well know, it's hard. So I'm just like you guys. So I wanted to send some humanity out there, and here we are, reaching Norway. How exciting is that? And if there's anybody else international, please let me know where you're chiming in from. I would love to see that. Typing all the darn time, it's not very human. So I wanted to reach out to you guys and let you know where some of these resources are so that you guys can be better equipped, whether you're new at disulfiram or whether you have been doing it for a long time. You might find something is going to be new information for you, while other things are going to be redundant. So just ignore if it doesn't resonate with you. So let's see if I can I pulled my stuff up, and let me see if I can get, oh God, you guys are great. Lots of comments. Scotland, hi Allison, that's great. Vicky, no, my kids are not on disulfiram. There is only limited data on the safety and efficacy of disulfiram for children who were actually in an alcoholic study from ages 13, I guess, to 19, if I remember correctly. Been a long time since I've discussed the history of the literature, but there was no safety issues with those kiddos. As you guys know, applying this medication for Lyme disease is way different So hopefully we'll have some data come out on the safety and efficacy of that at some point. But one thing to note is that the studies that I'm mentioning from alcoholics ages 13 to 19, I don't know that we've found, well, I should say it like this, we have not found any studies following those kiddos later on in life to see if they've had any brain issues, things like that. That's the one thing the conservative people with surrounding the use of disulfiram for Lyme is concerned about is brain damage. You just don't know. A child's brain doesn't fully develop until they're 25. So when we're using this drug, which by the way, it is a psychiatric medication. This is not a drug for Lyme. It's not a drug for alcoholism, etc. It's a psychiatric medication. The history of it is, my gosh, over 60 years of history. It being used for all kinds of different things, and they simply stumbled across the fact that the people taking it for that worked in the rubber plant got sick drinking alcohol, so it was an inhibition type thing that they're using it now for quite a few things. So we do have information on it being useful for babesia, aspergillus mold, which is one of the most common indoor mold contaminants. I find a lot of people have mold issues, which also, in my experience, tends to lend a domino effect to candida. And I want to talk a little bit about that because the other things that, before I get into that it treats, of course, is Borrelia. It may cause Bartonella to flare. It may have some efficacy against Bartonella, but it also may just be causing the Bartonella to get angry, so to speak, and cause inflammation, and so symptoms of Bartonella flare. We don't have data that says that it's actually treating it. So it may also go after viruses. There is a study out there on HIV. So we may see something come out in the future on it being effective against other viruses, but what's the term? The cliche is something like, what's the one I'm looking for, you guys? Causation doesn't necessarily mean, well, anyway, it doesn't mean that it treats viruses because we have data showing that it treats HIV virus. So anyway, those are just a few things off the cuff. The one thing about safety with starting disulfiram that we have discovered is that we want to try to treat candida before starting disulfiram. We want to treat mold before disulfiram, remediating the house, and that's a whole deal, you guys. Thank you, Jen. Correlation does not mean causation. Yes, thank you. So we've treated our home 7 times. I'm not a fan of, unless somebody's in a severe Stucky Buttress type situation, getting the heck out and getting a new apartment and whatever. We have opted, and this is again just my experience, not a recommendation, gone to remediation 7 times. So we've all done cholestyramine as a binder, and then Dr. Kinderlair, in one of my interviews with him, turned me on to GI Detox, and that's got all kinds of cool stuff in it. So I alternate. Same thing, I alternate with probiotics. We want to try to get a wide scope of treatment for the things that's going on. And those 2 things I find are very confusing for patients, and was for me too. And of course, I have no real answers. I'm certainly not a doctor, but I've been doing this long enough with 5 of us, and we're all doing so much better that I just want to share experience on this stuff. So the first things to treat candida, mold, and remediating the home or place of business wherever you're getting the mold contamination from. But the third thing that's important to try and do is chelate heavy metals. As you guys know, this is a chelating agent. And so when we talk about chelating beforehand, it may save you later on from having some, redepositing of heavy metals, because disulfiram is a chelator. So we don't know what's happening when it binds with other metals within the body, which, it's unavoidable today in this day and age, how are we getting rid of that once it binds, right? It might be that, like I said, might be that it's being redistributed either in the brain or the muscles, the myelin sheath. So we don't know. So again, this is about safety. So we want to try to back up and plan ahead. Chelate as much as you can with your doctor, of course, and then do your, the heavy metals, treat candida, and treat mold. So I always find mold and Lyme typically go together. In an interview I did with Dr. Lee Cowden, he said that 85% of his Lyme patients have mold contamination. That's an insanely high amount of people. I'll also say that just from my experience in doing a lot of reading, Lyme always tends to go with out of control candida. I'm not going to share a lot of the data on that I have been recently researching, but there's quite a bit out there. Lots of candida infection of the heart, myocarditis. There's a lot of systemic candida, CNS candida infection. So at a Live Lyme conference that I went to, I guess now 2 years ago, under the announcements, you'll see my picture with Dr. Jayakumar Rajadas. Big kisses out to all those researchers, especially him and Ravi Potnini, that discovered disulfiram can eradicate Lyme disease. At that Live Lyme conference that he was at, Coco Lake and I went together. There was a doctor who spoke up, and I'll never forget it. He's like, oh my gosh, in his 80s. And he said he has been treating Lyme patients very successfully with IV fluconazole. And he was saying that Lyme symptoms resolve. And I thought it was, oh sure, it's like a physician's quackery at us patients. Like, you don't really have Lyme, right? We're always used to hearing that. I'll get to your guys' questions. I see them coming in, but it's kind of like Squirrel in the movie Up. I keep looking over and I need to try to stay focused with what I'm saying at the moment, but I will promise to get to them. So please type those questions over there and I'll get to them, and I'm watching my time. But IV treatment for candida, he said he was doing enemas, colonics, nasal flushes, IVs. I was shocked, right? And, you kind of hear stuff like that from physicians who, are older like that. They may be a part of that old dogma, persistent Lyme doesn't exist, things like that. So I kind of just brushed it off as like, put it in my back pocket, like, that's really interesting. I totally believe it now, you guys. For the last 2 years, I think I've come on here and said, but I've been struggling on and off with red itchy bumps on my face. This is before, during, after disulfiram, in which I'll stay focused on that in 1 second. But to my point of this physician's information about candida, I think that candida, you guys, is way bigger of an issue than we give it credit. I started researching skin candida, and it only happens when I eat something with erythritol. Erythritol is a fermented process of typically GMO corn. I didn't know any of this, right? I try to stay away from sugar. I try to buy things for my family. Thanks, Jen. You're doing great. I appreciate your help. I see all your answers. I think candida is a really big issue for us, and typically what I have been reading is that it can actually cause liver damage, you guys. I had no idea it was such a big deal, and I was reading about all of the maladies that simple candida can cause, and who does it affect the most? You guys can answer this, right? Immune compromised people. Who hasn't been on antibiotics for years? I did 4 years straight. Had a port, a PICC line. I was on 33 prescription drugs a day when I first started treating. Then there was, supplements and all that compiled made 33. Absolutely insane. And then we talked a little bit about binders, but then there's this other whole mess called probiotics. People don't realize, for instance, when I coach or mentor patients, I'm hearing a very steady mention of inflammation and, skin rashes, like I was explaining, itching, things like that. And what I came to find in doing my research was that almost everybody is on Saccharomyces boulardii. Who's on Saccharomyces boulardii? Text me, please. It is contraindicated, actually, which that's a very strong word to use in the medical world, in my opinion. Something that's contraindicated means that it can cause serious trouble. So if anybody is on Saccharomyces boulardii out there, I'm not telling you to stop, but I'm telling you to do your research. Go to the actual webpage for the company that makes, Newtown, what was your name again? Donna? Brenda? I'm trying to remember. So, if you're taking Saccharomyces boulardii, that is brewer's yeast. Let me say it again. Taking that probiotic is going to eventually cause you to build up acetaldehyde and potentially have a DSF reaction. So thank you, Bonnie. So go to their website. Again, I'm not telling you to not take it. As soon as I found that out, it was during my LDI shots, low-dose immunotherapy, when they put beta in it. I had a mean swelling and itching, and it was terrible. I went back, and the doctor told the lady at the front desk, did she buy Saccharomyces boulardii? Because I was on, 5 different probiotics and rotating them daily, twice a day, not once. Made all the difference. But when I got that beta in the low-dose immunotherapy, oh my gosh, yes, yikes, exactly. I had insane swelling and itching, and I'm talking like, they go right here. I've got oodles of scarring from them from years. That's right, good to know it's right. Swelled up like you wouldn't believe, all up my arm and into my chest and back. So the doctor, was of course concerned. So she checked, and my billing, the front desk lady gave me Saccharomyces boulardii because almost all the Lyme patients were on it. And I went, well, that's me. I need that. Well, after I had that reaction, we started investigating. That sucker is brewer's yeast. That's what it's made of. Go to their website. Go to the website and read. It says it is not indicated for weakened people with weakened immune system, or the elderly, or people who have been on long-term antibiotic therapy. Guys, that's us. I mean, some of us aren't elderly, but definitely weakened immune system. So some of this stuff that I speak to you guys about or people I've mentored, we're causing some of this stuff ourselves. This vicious cycle of candida or not feeling well on disulfiram, which I'll get into that a little bit as well, but we're causing ourselves. And so my point is, go read about Saccharomyces boulardii and who it is intended for and who it is not. I don't know anybody that doesn't eat, besides us, right? But sugar and on and off antibiotics, which kills the stomach flora. And then, grains and starches and the things that, cause candida. Almost the whole population, right? Well, then when you throw in yeast and Saccharomyces boulardii, which is brewer's yeast, you've got a real issue. And then you go to start something like disulfiram, trying to make yourself better, and really just making yourself sicker. What happens is we don't realize some of this stuff might already be somewhat out of control. And when we're killing off some of this infections, viruses, whatever, comes through in the data that it's actually killing, we know some of the stuff I mentioned early on, those are causing inflammatory proteins to spike. So that's what the bacteria tends to go after. And thank you, Jen. Yeah, I know a lot of the best doctors are prescribing it. It is a big fat no-no, in my opinion, for people with, you can go read. It says right on their website. I couldn't figure out how to screen share it. I pulled some stuff up that I wanted to share with you guys, and I'm not seeing how to do it, but I wanted to share that with you guys. I don't see. It gave me the option when I first came on to screen share, and I'm sorry, maybe we'll post some more stuff. But yeah, Jen posted the, it says Laura Jen, posted the information on Sac boulardii. You can go there and read. It says it right on their website who it's contraindicated for. And I checked like 4 of their boxes, not 1. So really big deal, you guys. That's a really big deal. The other thing I'll mention, because candida I think is a really, really big deal for the majority of us, if not all, is yeast is in everything. You can't even find, well, I did, but it took me a long time to hunt, chicken broth without yeast in it. Now, I don't have any idea why that would require a ingredient like yeast, but for some reason it is in everything, and I don't really care why, but please make sure you're reading your labels super carefully. Anything that says natural flavors or anything grouped together like that, when I was on disulfiram, I stayed away from those. So I think I said all I wanted to say about probiotics and about chelation and things like that. So let's move, or unless you guys have any other questions about that. The reason we want to be super careful with those things is because disulfiram can be hard on the liver. It can cause a lot of die-off quickly, and your liver is your main filtering organ. So if you're taxing something that's already been damaged after years of candida and antibiotics and all the stuff that we try to approach treating Lyme and co-infections with, yeah, exactly, Donna, that's what I was going to say, is that we have to be really, really careful. And to Donna's point she just made, I wanted to get into diet. That's really a big issue for people. It seems like it's simple, but that's one of the things I recommend for people to do before they start. Treat candida, treat heavy metals, chelating, and get rid of mold. But the other thing is go through your bathroom, go through your kitchen, and get rid of sauces, get rid of anything with vinegar, which almost all condiments have. Somebody commented last night that this was their second round on DSF and they can eat any sauces they want. Dr. Kindler in one of my videos, even interviews, said that he's got one guy on Disulfiram who can even have a glass of wine whenever he wants and it doesn't bother him. I don't recommend this at all. Alcohol can also be used in vape pens. So be very careful what you guys are doing and plan ahead so that you're not getting in trouble. The other thing that I want to recommend to you guys is to stock up on DHM. Jen, if you can post that for me, I thought I'd be able to be a little more interactive with this, but I buy it at Amazon and I've got it right there in my cabinet, but it's really good for the liver. Yeah, it is a hobby now. But the thing with DHM, it's a really long word, dehydro something acid. It's a fantastic liver detox agent. So what it does is for people who drink alcohol, it can help limit the effects of alcohol on the liver. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but I've been studying about alcoholism and what it actually does to the body. It actually stunts, it turns all the organs off. So again, really important that we try to get all forms of alcohol out and prepare for a mistake. I see it all the time. Somebody asked, stock up what now? Did I miss something? I'm trying to pay attention and not pay attention. But DHM is really great to have on hand in case you do have an accidental. Somebody had a, I read the other day, somebody had tequila spilt on them and she was freaking out posting, and I don't blame her. It's scary. I smelled vinegar one time. I held the jug away from myself at the kitchen sink and poured it over, oh, my kiddo's toothbrush, that's why. It fell on the floor. But anyway, I was trying to sanitize and I held the whole bottle away from me. And you guys, I couldn't believe it. Just the fumes made me so sick. Some people, most people I'll say, have those types of reactions. Others, like I said, can have a glass of wine or, you know, sauces like the gentleman yesterday that was talking about it. And they're not bothered. That may not be you. So always try to prepare first to go through your bathroom, shampoos and all that stuff. It didn't bother me. Topical stuff didn't bother me. But things that in, you know, sauces I accidentally had. Oh, my husband made me a turkey roll-up once when we went boating and used some mustard that was left over from my cousin when they were here visiting. Oh my gosh, I felt so nauseous. I didn't end up vomiting or anything, but that was the other time. So yeah, I've been alcohol poisoned twice. The other time was I've never in my life smoked a vape pen, but I tried one time, and I cannot tell you how violently I vomited. And it was seriously 1 second. That's all it was. So some of this stuff you just, if you can't see the label, the ingredients to a T, and I'm talking we can't have anything bunched together like natural flavorings, that kind of stuff is a no-no. We want it whole food, cook everything yourselves, and then go through the photos and the announcements and the files. So thank you so much, you guys who have participated in filling those file section and photos, etc., with things that have worked for you. Like I said in the very beginning, nothing on this website is recommendations or medical advice. So always, you know, ask your doctor or look it up yourself, do your homework before you take a recommendation from a picture that's on our site or something like that. I'll get to your questions in just a second. I'm trying to get out everything that I wanted to say. So let's talk a little bit about what kind of food, and then I want to talk about, if you guys will remind me, sulfate and sulfur and sulfite. But the first thing with food is we want to try and limit acetaldehyde. Of course, like ripe fruit, things like that are going to be super high in sugar content. So we want to be careful with that kind of stuff. And polyphenols, that's another no-no. Somebody came on the other day and had a monster drink, and it made her super sick. Could be the sugar. She had a blinding headache behind one eye. You know, this stuff is crazy. You just don't know where the bugs are, and when you treat or you mess up and have something that has polyphenols in it, makes you sick or something, you don't know how your body's going to react to that. So just try your best to prepare ahead with food, sauces, things in your bathroom, and go from there. Toothpaste, there's another one, sulfites, SLS. You want to be careful with all of that stuff. Of course, something in your mouth is going to go straight to your bloodstream and your heart, so we want to be more careful with things that go inside the body. Foods, any other questions about foods? That's a really big one. There's a pretty exhausting list. So all of this stuff, by the way, is on my website, disulfiramforlyme.com. There's another one, disulfiram.net. That gentleman took a lot of the information off of what Coco Lake and I had put together, mostly Coco Lake. She's brilliant. I've learned the majority of my stuff from her. She's a retired pharmacist who worked at a California state mental hospital. So she ran that department and 33 and a half years, saw all kinds of psych stuff. So when you guys see Coco Lake coming on, that's who she is, because of course professionally she doesn't have that information on her bio. So nonetheless, she is an expert on disulfiram. She has been the one who has taught me almost everything I know, but she's not. Yeah, Coco does rule. Hi, Jane. But anyway, so again, I'm not the expert. I'm just the messenger, and I've learned what I've learned. I forgot some of it, but she helped me fill out the announcements. I'm going to click. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a good idea. A DSF safe recipe swap. So again, whole foods, everything from scratch, which I tend to do anyway, because my kids, we've been doing allergy testing and shots at home for years, and hoping to desensitize ourselves from some of these allergens. And so we cook like that anyway. My 13-year-old is one of the best pizza makers you'll find. They made, him and the 11-year-old made pizzas last night. It was delicious. They made me a vegan one, and first time I ever had Brussels sprouts on a pizza, but it was pretty darn good. But anyway, if you're buying, for instance, pre-packaged food, I don't recommend that. For instance, marinara sauce that you buy in the store has vinegar and sugar, and chicken broth has yeast. There's only one Pacific brand chicken stock, and it's not the unsalted one, it's the real one. There's like 5 ingredients, and there's no yeast. There's a little bit of sugar, but again, I'm treating that stuff anyway, so I try really hard to cook everything from scratch. I just can't boil a chicken every time I want to have egg drop soup. We're big fans of that in my house. So nonetheless, everything from scratch. That's right. Okay, so Jen is bringing up rice as a grain. Okay, so this blew my mind, but I was interviewing an expert, and he was talking about the brat diet in the old days. Used to work wonders for people who were ill, flu or whatever. Now, he said, not so much. And I said, well, rice rice converts to sugar in the body. And he was like stunned, and I was like, the brat diet may not be so great anymore, especially for people on disulfiram because of that reason. But also, what he was saying was our soil density with minerals and vitamins have been depleted over the years through poor farming methods. But anyway, my opinions from my homework, but nonetheless, some of the things that have been tried and true in the past may not be so anymore for some obvious evolutionary reasons, but also if you're on disulfiram, be real careful with eating anything that converts to sugar. We're talking dairy can convert to sugar, not can, it does convert to sugar, carbohydrates, simple starches, rice, my gosh, gum, anything that has any kind of erythritol, sugar substitutes, and sugar and alcohol can blow this thing out of the water. So this whole interview, or not interview, I'm not interviewing myself, right? This whole Q&A session I wanted to do was how to do this safely. And these are some of the reasons. Okay, so yeah, Donna, good point. I try to be grain-free, just for paleo reasons. So some of these things have, risk versus benefit, right? They may have more benefits than the risk. So I would look that stuff up. I have a lot of books on food and their content, mineral and vitamin contents. So you kind of want to, follow that. Donna says she follows the Stephen Gundry's plant paradox and a modified, mostly paleo diet. That's right. I do try to limit the tomatoes, the beans. I do all that stuff in the crock pot. My Instapot is like my BFF with 4 kids. But those kinds of things are safer to cook in the crock pot. Okay, so I'm going to scroll up and answer some questions. One of the ones that came in yesterday was on detoxing. So let's start there so that I don't forget, because I'm not quite sure that I can successfully go to the other screen and not lose you guys. Okay, detoxing. So I mentioned cholestyramine is something my doctor had prescribed for me and the kids for mold. And I will say that there may be some fillers in that. I try to treat everyone, since there's 5 of us, right, on a shoestring budget. So anytime I can use my insurance, I'm all in for that. But cholestyramine is a medication to lower cholesterol. That was its original intent. And what it can do is cause stomach irritation. It can be compounded and be very good for people who have struggled with mold and potentially candida. But the majority of it is really good at binding mold and getting it out. The other thing that I learned from dear Dr. Kinderler, whom I absolutely adore, I think I've interviewed him 4 or 5 times now. He turned me on to GI Detox. You can just type it. I don't remember who makes it, but it has an excellent product. It's got aloe, which soothes inflammation in the intestines. It's got silica, which is a binder, I believe for aluminum. Then there's charcoal, and there's bentonite clay, you guys. So that's kind of a broad spectrum binder with a little bit of cooling agent, the aloe. So I really like that one. So I try to keep some next to my bed, right, because of the compliance issues. It's just hard, right? So we do what we can. I try to plan ahead for making mistakes. I always tell my kids, dumbify your world. That means I might forget something sometimes, so routines are good, and allow yourself some, wiggle room for making mistakes and forgetting things. So I try to keep some next to my bed when I go to bed if I have not had medication or food or anything within an hour, then I'll take my binder at bed. So charcoal tabs are another good one. I keep those in stock all the time for everybody, but I do twice a day, and I alternate them. So if you guys have been doing this a long time like us, most of you have, you always want to change things up, right? And I'm not saying start and stop disulfiram, that's not what I'm saying, but binders, supplements, treatment protocols, even physicians, if you're finding that you're not getting better on something that you're trying within a 2-month time period is generally what I've read, switch it. Even like Booner protocol or, Cowden protocol, Nutrimetics or homeopathy or any of that. So, okay, so detoxing looks like that as far as binders are concerned. Food is a really big part of that. We want to try to stay away from prepackaged food that has, MSG and stuff like that in it. We want to keep our organs clean as possible so that they can do their job and we can get rid of some of this stuff, because I find with Lyme patients we're always kill, 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 kill. And what I have found in my experience is we're human beings. Sledgehammers, typically that approach does not go well. Not with disulfiram and not with herbs, homeopathy, you name it. So I'm always very conservative. Just to note, speaking of which, I started my disulfiram treatment February of 2019, and I did 8 months. Before we had really experience and information out there, I did, that's Mason. I did, let's see, I went up to 500 milligrams. That was not a good day. That lasted about 1 day. Terrible depression, was not fun at all. I don't recommend people think about this therapy as a weight capacity. We want to think of this therapy as a tolerability treatment. What do we tolerate? So when everybody else, Dr. Liebner came out with his paper, started everybody at 125, right? The 3 of those guys in that study were big men. And at the time I was like 135 pounds, maybe 140. So I did 62.5 just because I know my body. I'm super sensitive to things, alcohol, anything like that. I typically have always done like 1/4, 1/2, and I tend to do better. So I'm so glad that I did that. 8 days in, I got a fever. So it took a while. It didn't come right away. I felt okay outside of that. It wasn't too big of a deal, so that was kind of a herx. This was another question that came in. So that was likely a herx. And then after 2 weeks, I raised again. And day 21, I had another fever. And that fever lasted for like 3 weeks. So I didn't go up. I stayed, and, it was manageable. The herx was manageable. If your herxes are manageable, always talk to your doctor regardless of what's going on. But see if it's not manageable, talk to your doctor first. But a lot of times what these experts are saying is to back up to the last dose that you tolerated, excuse me, and then gradually go up. So let's go back to detoxing and those herxes. What do you want? The detox bath, okay? If you guys go to my YouTube channel, just type my name the way it's spelled with a K and a B-A here. It says, Texas Lyme Alliance. I have made an interview, super red face, a little embarrassing, totally fine, I don't care. I'm taking one for the team there, right? But it's there's a protocol, there's a whole process. It's not just getting in a tub full of, you know, baking soda peroxide or what have you. There's a process to it. When I was in a lot of pain treating when I was really sick, you guys, I was taking like 3 detox baths a day. And you know, the video kind of talks about why traditional detox bathing isn't enough. We want to dry brush first, everything toward the heart, up toward the heart, front, back, in between. And then I used a different one for my face. But the important thing is on Disulfiram, I did not do well on traditional Epsom salt. What's the thing that's always in Epsom salt? It's magnesium sulfate. So be careful how you're detoxing, guys. If you struggle like me with sulfur, we're already loading our body with sulfur because of Disulfiram is a sulfur containing compound. It's the middle molecule of the drug. So the main thing is I don't think my liver was 100% perfect because of candida, years of antibiotic therapy, weakened immune system, and what have you, mold. Then I started taking Disulfiram, and you know, I didn't herx my brains out until, of course, I went to 500, and then I took a 5-week break until all of the herxing symptoms went away, and then I started back up and went too high again to 375. So that completed my full 8-month treatment. I was on 375 for 2 months, did my 60 days, and I was so thrilled to get off, just like you guys. But the important thing is, during that time, I just had an underlying, you guys know what I'm talking about. Some of you might have this issue. I'm guessing quite a bit more than what we realize, and that was another reason why I wanted to do this. When we feel like crap, we go to the go-tos, and that's for everybody, you know, your typical binders, your typical detox bathing, etc. Well, I don't know how else to say this more politically correct, but some of it we're doing wrong. I'm just going to say it. I was too. The Epsom salt containing magnesium sulfate was adding more sulfur to my already high sulfur Disulfiram, and then guess what I was eating? Not do sulfur, right? It's naturally occurring. But when we start to add more and then add more and then add more, I was like triple dosing myself with sulfur. And then, you know, any kind of SLS or sulfates, it's in a lot of stuff. So be real careful with that. I substituted, and I had to hunt, reading labels everywhere, the Epsom salt with magnesium chloride. You can find it, it's a little bit pricier, but they typically come in flakes. Some people are getting it in brush, like I said, get into as hot a water as you can tolerate. Now, if you're really sick with severe weakness, POTS, these things are very common in neurological illness. Always, for safety, have somebody home and with you. There was a really sad case a couple years ago when I was marching in front of the CDC. Yes, I was, for Lyme disease patients. And I was literally, I saw somebody shared it on Facebook, and I mentioned it on a live stream that I was doing, showing you guys all the people who showed up with the Lyme Army and Texas Lyme Alliance, who I'm the director of, by the way. But lots of different people came in from Canada and all these different Lyme groups, and I was just bawling. So this poor young lady had a seizure in the bathtub and drowned. So not to be Debbie Downer, but that's how important it is to make sure that you guys are safe with any of these protocols, including so life-saving as, and simple as a detox bath. So be real careful. Make sure you have help in and out of the tub, somebody to sit with you. I have 3 boys and one of my boys, but have them turn around and bring a device, iPad or a book or whatever, and it's not so embarrassing then. And so anyway, always plan ahead. Doing those suckers 3 times a day, you guys, for an hour each. I'm not joking. That was the only way I could tolerate the pain. They always wanted to put me on pain meds, and we have addiction in our family. I'm not ashamed of it. But I always turned them down because I was raised watching the destruction alcohol and pain meds and things like that did to my family. So I just never wanted any part of it. So nonetheless, I had to resort to, things that were maybe a little harder than just taking a pill. That stuff doesn't work anyway, in my opinion. But okay. So did I cover everything? I know that was a lot, really fast. Detoxing. The other thing on detoxing that I'll mention is here near Dallas, it's $100 to $150 per colonics. Those are huge. That gets your liver talking. Okay, you can feel it working. It helps to, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of exercise your liver. That's not exactly the word I'm looking for, but nonetheless, it is really good at helping to detox, clean out the intestines, and get the liver working and producing bile. There's so much here we could. Yes, I'm seeing your comments, Dawn, and I'm going to get to them. I'm watching my time, dear. We've got 17 minutes, so I'm going to get to them. But finishing up with detox, that would be our detox bathing. I mentioned the price of colonics is crazy. Stainless steel, all that has to be super safe. The hygienic wise, the coffee that I use is 4 enemas, and it's the gold roast organic. Everything within the bowel is or rectum. There's way more nerve endings in the rectum than anywhere in the body. So that's why it's really important. A lot of blood flow there. It's really important to use really clean materials. So again, not recommending this stuff to you guys. This is what has worked for us. So we have enemas or colonics, depending on your wherewithal financially. We have our binders. We talked about those, and there's others. You guys, can separate those GI detox ones out and do just bentonite clay and cholestyramine or whatever. If mold's not an issue for you, I doubt you belong here, but that may be the case. Most everybody has candida mold issues that I've come across that have treated Lyme. Colonics, enemas, detox baths, that kind of stuff are really good for detoxing. Food. Did I miss anything, y'all? Lemon water is another good one that, and then Alka-Seltzer Gold for herxing. It was inferred by someone that there is mercury in it. I never called the company, but I'm not sure that that's true. One of our doctors told me that, but then another doctor I mentioned it to said he's not aware of that. So it's definitely not an ingredient on the package. Sometimes these companies, it's made by Bayer. I don't know how their manufacturing looks, but nonetheless, yes, thank you so much, Renee Marie. You have a great middle name. That's my middle name, Saunas. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm a really big fan. I have had really great luck with infrared saunas. The one I have now is Heavenly Heat. You really want to make sure that it is low EMF. And I say that because I got burned using Sunlighten. I had pretty good banter back and forth with them. Their third party that certifies them as low EMF is some hole in the wall company. I have no idea. I checked into them and I didn't find impressive results, but again, who am I? So do your homework. It may be legit, I don't know, but the only low EMF Sunlighten is their signature series. It's the most expensive, and of course I had an Impulse, very high EMF. I took two different, one of my clients I had a yoga studio and we had treatment rooms where I offered ozone steam sauna, infrared sauna, etc. She actually was an environmental doctor and brought in two different meters, and it would go from 70 to 564 down to 60 up to 275 megahertz, like crazy. I think that's the frequency it measures, I'm not sure. But anyway, be real careful. Low EMF is really important. Right now I have Heavenly Heat, near infrared, and far infrared. And then I also have an ozone steam sauna, and I've been a big fan of ozone for a long time. It's one of the purest forms of detoxification and oxygenation that you can get. Oxygen's 2 molecules, ozone's 3 oxygen molecules, so hyperoxygenating the body while you're doing heat deprivation is really, really good. So you're bringing ozone into the pores that are super open, goes into the bloodstream, and helps to purify the lymphatics. Oh, another thing that reminds me, lymphatics are a really big issue. The lymphatics are the garbage truck of the immune system, okay, if you can imagine that. When the lymphatics get clogged by webs formed by Bartonella, yes, that can happen. I've read research on that. And slow-moving lymph, because of slow-moving bowels with constipation, things like that can happen, or low bile production. These are whole videos we could, do another time if this is something you guys are enjoying. But vibration therapy is so amazing. So you can get a vibration plate and stand on it. If I had a yoga client who went sepsis once on a cruise, right? Was helicoptered out and what have you. Couldn't go to the bathroom. He was septic, having a really hard time. And somebody brought in a very simple neck massager, vibrator, and they were massaging his belly. He said within 30 minutes he was able to go to the bathroom. So you guys, these are really simple ways to treat on a shoestring budget. You may already have some of these things in your house just laying around. Be careful. Talk to your doctor first, anything that I'm talking about today. And, always go sensitive, gentle, conservative, and work your way up. Okay, so let's get to some of these things. We have about 10 minutes, and I'm okay personally on time, but I don't want to keep you guys super long. Okay, 10 minutes ago, broadcast paused. I'm not sure. Okay, bud, that's great. Be careful, wear your helmet. I'm not sure what happened. Are we back on? Connection issues? Sorry, I just noticed that. Are we back on, guys? Hey boys, turn off your Xbox, please. I'm having connection issues. Guys, am I back on? Could you tell me? It says I'm having connection issues. Sorry. Oh, okay, good. Thanks, Bonnie. Okay. Yes, Jen says you need to stay away from... Right, Laura Scout, that's right. Magnesium chloride, not magnesium sulfate is typically what Epsom salt. Just to mention, the main ones that I use for detox bathing are magnesium chloride, baking soda, and peroxide. A real go-to in the community that, wear your helmet, that people use is apple cider vinegar. Of course, that's a big no-no. You don't want to soak in that. Thanks, Jen. Can you go back 20 minutes in the questions? I'm actually going to go from the top and go through them fairly quickly. If we go a couple minutes over and y'all need to go, just check out. But hopefully we will be able to get to all of these. Okay. So please repeat everything you said about Epsom salt. I take Epsom baths every night. Okay, so here's the thing. You may not have a problem with your liver and the detoxification pathway. There are different methylation pathways within the liver, and the sulfation one is one of the big ones. Guys, can you hear me okay now? I'm seeing that y'all are having trouble 10 minutes ago. Oh, I'm sorry, Laura. Keeps freezing. Sorry, you guys. Am I back on? Okay, thanks, Jenna. I see you 1 minute ago said that I'm on. Okay, and then, hi, Sue. I saw you. Welcome. Okay. So be careful with the products that are typically the tried and true. On Disulfiram may not be. Could be a curse. So be careful with all that. Repeat your whole bath thing. Okay, well, I'm not going to repeat it all. I just touched a little bit on the ingredients. But even essential oils, some of the essential oils I was putting in my bath can be made of thiols, Thiols. Some people may not have a problem, and we have no research saying that people will have a problem. I've had lots of conversations with the Glorious Cocoa Lake on that. So it's really, until research is done, like we keep saying all the time with everything, we just don't know. But I was always real careful with anything that ended in OL. So be careful, and those are typically going to be your hot oils that are high in thiols. But nonetheless, I am a Young Living rep, and I actually did the training, the 3-day training to become a certified raindrop technique. It's a massage technique for detoxing, which is pretty miraculous in and of itself. But a lot of the hot oils are, man, I herxed for like 5 days just by them touching my hands. So essential oils are a super big deal. Okay, instead of Epsom, like I said, I use, this is Donna's question, I use magnesium chloride instead of magnesium sulfate. I use baking soda and peroxide, and I dry brush first, soak in as hot of water as I can stand, and I always went up to the back of my head because the I can't talk today. Occipital lobe is an area that I got bit several times back here, so I always made sure that I soaked that. And then you rinse with cool water. That's the part that flushes the lymph, right? Finland is known for that kind of stuff. So we want to mimic the healthy people, right? This is what they're doing. That's part of a really great detox protocol to try and see if it works for you. Talk to your doctor first. I always use that disclaimer. And then, okay, video froze. Did I answer everything that you guys wanted as far as that is concerned? Yes, I'm seeing your comments. Sorry about the detox bath thing. Okay, so I do want to mention here, if y'all missed that, guys, it's saying that my stream metrics are not doing well. I'm so sorry. Hope you guys can hear and see me. But nonetheless, make sure for safety that you have someone that knows you're getting in the tub. And if you're experiencing seizures, POTS, fainting, any of that stuff, do not get in by yourself. Have somebody help you in, help you out, and hang out with you. Like I said, I would get my boys to turn around and sit in a chair, and they could hear me. Once you get down in the water, can't really see much anyway for discretion purposes, but they'd bring in a book or homework or iPad or something, and just hang out. So that's all I needed, was somebody to just look at my face, make sure I'm okay. That's really it. But I have a video on YouTube that may sound silly, but I did take one for the team. I'm completely red-faced and look crazy, no makeup, but that's how red my face gets, because your blood is pumping. It's a lymphatic cleanser. So that's a really good one. Questions, girl. Okay, and then the other one is, can we share product lists in a group? Please share whatever you want to, you guys. The only thing that we don't like in here is unsubstantiated recommendations, like things that veer off into a path that might be unsafe. I've been seeing some people talk about effervescent disulfiram. That's not recommended for Lyme. Because it is an unstable delivery method. And again, that's from Coco Lake, not from me. She's a pharmaceutical professional, retired. And then, let's see, just living where I live in Austin, there's outdoor mold that is very high. Yeah, see, you guys, you will never be able to run from mold. I mean, honestly, you just can't. So, a mold-free diet, I have from my doctor. I'll post on the website after this is over, but you want to be careful that you're, making sure the coffee, for instance, is typically high in mold. So be careful with that. Mold-free diet. The cholestyramine is going to help detox mold, alternating with GI detox or bentonite clay or something, pardon me. And it's a broad scope of binders and alternating them, because your body gets used to stuff, the bugs get used to stuff, so you want to try and have broad spectrum for probiotics. Negative, the Sac Boulardii, we addressed that earlier. I hope you could hear that. And then alternating probiotics twice a day, not once, that really help the microbiome. Helping out the liver is really great. We talked a little bit about that stuff. And then, yeah, because you can't run from it. Alkalinized water, yeah, we talked about lemon water is the most acidic outside of the body, but when lemon hits inside of the body, it turns to one of the most alkalinizing. So very interesting there. Yeah, that's right. Water damage is the issue, but outdoor mold can be an issue. We do mold shots in my family from allergist, and or I work with, we are all under the care of an environmental physician. So we also do skin testing for mold there as well. Okay, so sauna. Yep. Sauna is awesome. You just want to be careful again that it's not high EMF. And if you're using the gym one, wear your shoes, put something under your butt. Be careful. Some people are coming out of those with foot fungus and stuff like that. So just be careful. Should be good. You just want to break a sweat. And then water purifiers. Oh my goodness, that's a whole nother deal that I'm not going to get into just yet. Okay, so again, Donna, the detox baths, I have an interview, or I'm sorry, a video that I did on my YouTube channel. If you just type my name on my YouTube channel and hit subscribe if you would, you'll get notified when I come out with new videos, but that detox bath one is on there, as well as a lot of interviews of the experts in best practices in using disulfiram. Reverse osmosis. Okay. And then let's see. Okay, you guys, did I miss anything here? I'm still going through your questions. Can I ask, please, is ozone okay for Bartonella and Babesia, also to clear mold before treatment? Well, again, I can't make medical recommendations on any kind of therapy or treatment or clinics or doctors, but I have been using ozone for about 5 years and I flippin' love it. I saw a cancer patient one time get out of a Hocket. If you guys know what that is, it's about a $25,000 ozonated sauna, ozone steam sauna. And the nurse drew his blood and it came out fuchsia, bright pink. I couldn't believe it. It was the prettiest darn thing I've ever seen. The nurse is a friend of mine, so I'm sure she didn't hit a small vein. But she said it comes out like that every single time people get out of the Hocket or, ozone. So this stuff works. It hyperoxygenates the blood, and as you know, that does not help Bartonella, right? But it does everything else, including viruses and mold, etc. So be careful there. A lot of people do get insomnia from disulfiram done at first, but a lot of people are able to work through it. So delivery method is important there. We want to try to divide the doses up to keep blood levels stable rather than taking one dose every 3 days. If it's a small dose, you can't really do much about that. That's what the experts are doing, and it seems to be going well. But if you're, on, a higher dose, you can start to divide your doses up to where your blood levels stay the same, because that's where we're seeing the troughs and the heights of the blood spiking. That's typically where we think we're seeing the inflammation come from. So, and that's a loaded statement right there, right? It could be coming from the herx, it could be coming from the blood spiking from the actual delivery of the disulfiram, etc. So, we don't know. So insomnia-wise, that may help. But yeah, again, you might want to check adrenals and work with your doctor, things like that, to try and work yourself through that. I'm a big fan of Band-Aids, I call them. Not a big fan of any kind of pharmaceutical drugs at all. And I know you guys probably think I am because this is my forum, pharmaceutical drug, but I'm not. But I'm a fan of what works. So if you need a Band-Aid every once in a while for depression, see a psychiatrist and get yourself that help. Insomnia, same thing. Okay, we talked about ozone, not good for Bartonella, good for Babesia, Lyme, mold. Okay, what is the copper zinc issue with disulfiram? I'm genetically don't eliminate copper efficiently. I currently take zinc. So the only thing I know about zinc and this issue is we want to take zinc away. And again, that's not my recommendation. That comes from Coco Lake. Okay, I do have doctors on my list in UK, Allison. I think we talked about that in the past, but I'll see if anything new is on there. Okay, and then please explain copper zinc issue with disulfiram. I saw it mentioned on disulfiram.net handout. So again, a lot of that information came from our website and the announcements that we put out. So all the same information is on our forum here and on our website, disulfiramforlyme.com or .org, either one. But as far as the copper zinc issue with disulfiram, you just want to take it apart, and that doesn't come from me, but that comes from a medical expert, a pharmaceutical medical expert. So check with your doctor on that. You don't want them in the stomach at the same time. Okay, good. Okay. You're welcome, Donna. Very informative. Appreciate all you do. Generous with your time. Very sweet. You're welcome. You guys, I do this stuff. I call it filling my karma cup. I can just see myself, right? Like a homeless person, you know, like fill my cup. But the thing of it is I had so many people helping me that we got better. So this is my karma. This is my Shiva, my service. So it's hopefully building my karma cup full for a rainy day if my kids or I need help. You know, it hopefully will be there, right? Good measures come back tenfold. I believe in that. So, yes. Okay, so I use ozone rectal insufflation, not the funnest thing, but like we talked about earlier, has the most nerve endings and blood flow in the body. So that's typically what integrative doctors might recommend, and mine did. But ozone steam sauna is usually what I do. And I know one of our integrative doctors for breast cancer patients were doing breast cups. You can actually buy those for cupping. And then let's see. Okay. Oh, it's moving quickly, you guys. Sorry, I'm going a little over. If you guys need to go, that's okay to check out. And this should... Oh, it's saying I'm out again, you guys. Oh, sorry. Hopefully this will keep recording and we can replay it without the interruptions. My internet connection apparently isn't doing so great today. Disulfiram seems to be causing insomnia. Increase my dose. Okay, so when you're increasing your dose and you're not able to sleep, maybe go up a little lower and slower and see if that doesn't help. But again, talk to your doctor about that and look at maybe some other reasons why. I don't know exactly the answer. But okay, thank you. Yes. What do you think about second rounds if you feel symptoms returning? That's recommended, actually. One of my interviews with Dr. Kendrelair, typically what he has found in his practice is that he has a lot more sensitive patients than Dr. Liebner in his clinical study. So if people had to come off disulfiram because they couldn't tolerate it, what he has found is they typically cannot go back, sometimes at all, which that's a little frightening, but nonetheless, it's true. And another thing to try and deter us from working with a maverick doctor, which you guys may know who I'm talking about, but pretty famous. Be careful, know your body and listen to your body better than anybody, and kind of listen to your instincts with that. Others might be able to go back on at a much lower dose, but not be able to tolerate their incremental doses going up. And I would like to answer that real fast, is that when you move up, I've seen even some of the really famous doctors saying, after a week, if you feel okay, go up. And that's not recommended in the literature because it's a psych drug. You got to remember it's a psych drug. The brain doesn't like jolting, okay? So the shelf life, so to speak, of disulfiram in the body is 14 days, plus or minus, 7 hours, plus or minus. So what you want to do is not increase the dose within that 2-week time period until you know that 2 weeks has passed and the metabolites aren't going to cause more of a problem if you go up sooner than 14 days. So again, not my recommendation. That comes from the experts. So disulfiram, okay, we talked about insomnia. Let's see. Okay, so second round's totally doable if you guys do okay. There's a guy that just posted either today or last night about that. And like I said, he's able to do sauces and everything, and he feels great going back on his second round. Okay, enteric disulfiram, is it best rather than regular? Do you know anything about extended release DSF? Okay, so a little bit, and again, I'm not an expert on this stuff, just a lot of reading and experience and talking with researchers, etc. So what I've learned is we don't want it all to be broken down in the stomach all at once. So that's why enteric coating is important, because it starts to break down in the intestine, and that's what we want. We don't want it all hitting the liver at once. We don't want it all breaking down the stomach at once, especially with a zinc supplement. You want to always separate those out. Again, we don't know, so don't run to the bank with this information. This is just what we know, or what I know as a layperson patient at this time. This may all be proven false later. Who knows? But for now, this is what we know. And then, okay, so what I did, you guys, I did old school, $10 a month, and I cut up my capsules. So one bottle of $10 a month therapy lasted me 2 months. So it cost me $5 a month to do this treatment. Not kidding. And then, let's see. Oh, you're so sweet, Allison. Thank you, dear. You're sweet yourself. Okay, and then now we know about enteric coating. And so what I would do is, all I can tell you, I can't, what I can do is, sorry, my dog, buy the caps, a couple bucks, and, chop it up into your 1/8 or 1/16 or whatever. George, outside. And basically, sorry, you guys, use a razor blade. I used a pill cutter and a razor blade. That's how I did it. And now we are talking about filling cheap enteric capsules. Georgie, stop! Out. And basically you just, scoop the powder after you're carefully separating it out. I know Dr. F is recommending mortar and pesto. My brain isn't working 100% today, forgive me. But you break it all up, right? And then separate it all out and fill your capsules. But again, I'm not recommending this, but man, $5 a month, y'all, that's insane. I know Dr. H, when I was the first person in Texas, by the way, to do Disulfiram, I brought it to him, and he started prescribing it compound. It was like $180 a month. And treating 5 people, no, heck no. So again, that's just what I did. I did fine, y'all. I have a patient that I coach who's a patient of Dr. Freed, and he calls me about every 6 weeks right before his next appointment. And so I'm always hearing back from these doctors feedback as to my mentoring and that kind of thing. And she says, this is totally fine, that people are doing enteric coating. It's wonderful. But the liposomal thing, you guys, is kind of funny, because no one's ever told me they have a hard time getting Disulfiram into the cells. So I know it adds an expense. So talk to your doctor and pharmacy about that. May not be needed. I don't know. Everybody's different. And then let's see, foods, pretty much vegan for 25 years. Yeah. Confused about copper. So that's a funny thing, because a lot of really healthy foods are high in copper. So what most people in the community are saying is to stay away from those foods. But again, I would work with a Lyme literate nutritionist and your doctor to see what is recommended for you, Jen, if you're that sensitive. Slow approach worked for me. Dr. Liegner has yet to publish his results of that group, because I asked him why, and he said it was because some people are still on it and others had to stop and start. So I have another video interview I did with Dr. Bransfield. He and Dr. Kinderler, they're starting people as low as 5 milligrams a week, you guys. So do not think something's too low or that you're going too slow for this to work. And How long you go and is it going to be successful? Time will tell. We just don't know. And then that we know of just yet, it is not um, clear that it will hit Bartonella. So be careful with that. You're welcome, Sherry. Okay. No, I did not take sleeping pills, but what I will tell you is I'm a big fan of low dose naltrexone. And again, that's another one that might cause a little bit of insomnia in the first few weeks, figuring your dose out. I believe, and it's been years, so forgive me if this is false information or inaccurate, but check with your pharmacist and doctor. But I started out at 0.5 milligrams, I think, and I worked my way up to 3.5 milligrams over, weeks and months. So it was hands down, I was happy and I was pain free. So hands down, low dose naltrexone is the best thing I have found for pain. Aside from detox bathing, those were the things that I did through my treatments. And regular dosing of naltrexone is contraindicated from what I understand on Disulfiram, but that's for heroin addicts trying to come off and stuff like that. Low dose naltrexone, those people are getting like 30 and 50 milligrams. We're talking 0.5 milligrams up to 4 milligrams. So totally different. Okay, and then I'm not quite sure, Jen, about your doctor saying what now? It keeps moving on me, you guys, sorry. His patients don't have food issues, so not to worry. I'm not sure what that is in regard to. See after I turn this off how it goes, and we're 1:30, so going a little bit over, but go ahead and check out if y'all need to. And then let's see. I don't recommend sleeping pills on DSF unless you talk to your physician and get something that's safe. And you always want to check drugs.com for interactions with Disulfiram. I don't ever say yes or no when people ask me. That's really up to your doctor. And then, yes, is it okay to taper off? I'm so glad I came across this question. Okay. So you can go on and off Disulfiram from what I personally experienced. And when we talk about ending our Disulfiram treatment, typically that is either two reasons. Symptom resolution is hopefully the reason, but others is because our herx goes too big, or we have a wedding to go to, or something like that, and you want to have a glass of wine or margarita or something. So the thing of it is, you want to allow yourself enough time to titrate down as slowly as you titrate up. Typically that's 6 to 8 weeks from what Coco Lake has said. And again, she is the expert on dealing with people with psychiatric issues. So again, you don't want to do anything to jolt the brain too much either which way. I think this is it, you guys. We covered a lot of stuff. We can go back and do another one of these anytime, but I'm going to go ahead and end it here. It's saying my internet is failing again, so I'm so sorry about that, but we covered a lot, you guys, and I'm so glad that you joined me today, and hopefully this will record for you guys to play back. And if you have any other questions, you're welcome to ask below, and I'll either do another one of these on different topics if this proves to be very helpful for you guys, and I'll try to get my internet working a little bit better for next time. I'm not quite sure what's going on. We've got fiber optics and routers and whatnot, so I don't know. Something to deal with, but thanks for joining me. It's an honor to serve you guys, and I'm so glad that you're here in our community, and just wanted to extend a little bit of human kindness to you today and let you guys know to keep plugging away, because tomorrow is going to be better. It's definitely going to be different than today. So hang in there, you guys, and big hugs to everybody out there all over the world that join us here on the Disulfiram Experience for Lyme Support Group. So you guys take care, and if you guys like this, let me know in the comments if you have questions, or if you like it and you want to see another topic discussed. I'll try to keep it a little bit shorter next time. But y'all take care, and happy 4th of July weekend.